Good morning. Welcome, everyone. My name is Renus Bailey. Somebody's got to turn it on for me. My name is Renus Bailey. I've been with Blackberry, or Research in Motion, I'm still allowed to say that, for 12 years. Before that, I was with IBM, and I've spent a lot of time deploying technology in a customer base and what I refer to as alleviating you from your money to give you some technical goop, but hopefully solving some problems along the way. In the audience, who do we have here? Do we have salespeople, business managers? Are you in the business of managing people, relationships? Because that's what I'm supposed to talk about. Good. What I'd like to talk about is how the internet ruined everything. Truly. Who here is in sales? Somebody's got to put up their hand. Before the internet, you could sell anybody anything because where could they find other information? And now you got some punk standing in front of you going, that's wrong. You have to be better. We all have to be better because information is there every day. If we think about it, there was a study done, and at the turn of the last century, the 1800s, not the 19, if you read the equivalent text that is published in a Saturday newspaper, that was your entire life. That was how much text you could get your hands on. And now we have to digest that much information by noon on Saturday. So the amount of information that is flowing at us is incredible. If you think of travel, 100 years ago, it was a lifetime journey to go to Vancouver and back. And now, you can fly out there at 8, do your meeting, hit the red eye back, one day. So the amount of information that is traveling the globe is exponential. And this is all coming at us. And how does technology help us manage this? Well, secondly, the information that is on the internet. If you own a restaurant, I can get on a blog and talk about how your restaurant did salmon. I'm not a professional chef. I'm just saying how I liked it. But that is out there. That's information for people to read about your business and how you interact with your customers. How do you work with that? How do you control that information? Well, it's not really controllable, but it's manageable. The Internet of Everything. So this is something that quite a lot of technology vendors talk about. How that your washing machine is going to send you a text message that is done washing. Well, isn't that great? I'm here. How am I going to put it in the dryer? Well, that might not be a problem that we need to solve. But if we think about the mobile computing devices that we have today, again, think of how things have advanced in just a short period of time. 20 years ago, you could be walking with little children and they say, who's that statue, as you're standing outside the monument to Brock? And you could read the plaque and maybe you might remember something from your high school education. Now, we have a device that is GPS, so it knows where you are. It has a magnetometer, so it knows how high and low you are. It has a compass, so it knows exactly which direction you're facing, and it has a connection to the internet. So you can grab an application like Wikipedia, and it can stand right there. You hold up your camera, it sees the statue. You don't even know who it is, and the entire biography will flow down to you, all the information that you have. You can go to Times Square and just turn in a circle and see all the plays that you can get tickets to, all the places you can eat. There's Zagat rating, that Chef Gordon Ramsay is there today. You can go to a game and see that your friend is sitting 80 meters across from you and wave. Maybe they can see you, maybe they can't. But all this information is flowing at you, and how can we use technology to manage it? What are we doing? Well, to me, the key is personalization. So how do we interact with our customers for that personalization to give you what you need, what they need, and keep that relationship going? So a little bit about what Blackberry is doing on that. So, Blackberry, talk about information. For all Canadians and you read the newspaper, there's been a lot of information about Blackberry. Not supposed to talk about this, but the guy who was in the plane, he got deported. So goodbye to him. We're doing a lot better in managing that customer information now. And talking about our new platform, the Hub. When we started taking a look at how people interact with information today, you have to take into context the amount of information flowing at you. You could be the president of Royal Bank, or you can run a restaurant with a very small group of people. You still have a tremendous amount of information flowing at you. I typed that review on how you cooked your salmon. So you need to have Twitter feeds and Facebook feeds and Foursquare feeds and all this information about your organization coming to you in one centralized location. We're doing that in the Hub. Keyboard. We need to be able to get information out quickly. People still talk, they still have conversations, which is a great thing, and that will definitely add to your personalization. But textual communication, whether you're out there tweeting or sending information, if you think about that personalization of your interaction with your customers or your constituency, you don't have to create content, but reading the content that they're creating and responding to it gives you that information, gives you that personal contact, makes that connection between you and your constituency. Blackberry for small and medium business. So very easy setup. You don't want to have 25 technology guys coming in to tell you how this is going to work and making your Blackberry flow information. It just should work out of the box. So out of the box, you turn it on. 15 seconds later, you can have your Twitter feeds coming in, your Facebook feeds. You can take your photographs of where you are, post it, let people know where you are. I tend to review some of that as information overload. I have friends that post whatever they're doing. They're having a coffee, now they're getting in their car. Too much information. But salient information is very important to your constituency base. So fast and cost effective. Blackberry, very easy to set up. Can connect your Gmail, your Hotmail, all the different situational feeds, and then take all that information and put it in one centralized hub for you to locate. So when I open up my inbox, it truly is a universal inbox. Whether I have phone calls, whether I have tweets that are coming at me, whether I'm following Darren Millard or just anybody who's going to my constituency, it's all coming into one location. And I can respond and manage that information in a very, very easy way. Applications, we're going to talk a little bit more about applications. So on the left-hand side is the universal hub. So as information flows into me, I can quickly respond to it, categorize it, move it, flag it, forward it, whatever type of action I need to take on that. And what we found in today's business is that the speed of information is almost as important as information itself. So a few years ago in business, we could have a typing pool and respond via, if you watch Mad Men on AMC, great. You can respond in a letter-based, and you have time to think about things. Now, you can be driving down the 403 and a customer wants information from you, and they expect that information to be delivered almost instantaneously. And it has to be accurate information because they have a very fast way to check your facts and your content. So being an expert on what you have to reply to your constituency becomes exponentially difficult for us, and being able to research and provide that information in a timely fashion, very, very important. So socially integrated. The entire universe is now Twitterized and Facebooked, and if we think about how business is interacting with that, it's very easy to see. So we do still, although we changed our name to Blackberry, we still do a lot of research at Blackberry, and even TV shows have become socially integrated. So now you're starting to see TV shows doing a live Facebook feed or Twitter rendering when they're displaying an episode. And they want your feedback. Why do they want your feedback? Well, it's kind of twofold. One, they want your feedback so they can see if they can sell you product and services. But now, they actually drive the shape of our entertainment based on how we feed back to them instantaneously. So should Ross and Rachel get together, maybe I'm dating myself with that one, but there are more modern TV shows that they actually watch the Twitter feed saying that in The Living Dead, that zombie kill was awesome. So therefore the special effects department needs to do more of that kind of work so that we can drive a bigger audience and create more revenue for ourselves. Being better organized. So as an individual, having this information flowing to one spot and being able to categorize it and move it around is essential to daily lives now. And documents to go, that gives you the ability that if someone sends you a Adobe Acrobat or Microsoft Word or any kind of document, you're able to open it, edit, work with it. I can give the presentation from my smartphone if I wanted to today. ActiveSync.
Outlook Exchange Server.
Outlook Exchange Server, absolutely. So Outlook Exchange Server is ActiveSync. So we now connect directly to the Outlook Exchange Server via ActiveSync. We still have our BlackBerry Enterprise server if you'd like complete command and control. And next week at our user conference, we're going to have several exciting announcements. So stay tuned on the BlackBerry Twitter feed to see what we're coming up with there. The BlackBerry Hub, again, that single spot that you can go to for all information is fantastic. Yes?
Talking about sync, I'm just wondering, is there a way now ever to sync correctly with a Mac computer?
Yes. That one, probably because it's a little more specific, I'll take that after the presentation and we can explain how to do that. Blackberry Protect. So Blackberry Protect is something that you can now turn on your Blackberry device, open it up, and GPS locate it. So here is my tip for parents of teenagers. You can go on to Blackberry Connect and GPS locate your child, see what their text messaging, have command and control over their Blackberry. You can see where they are so that when they say, hey, I'm going to the mall, you can actually see that they're at Johnny's house. Just displays on a little map, and all that is there for you as parents. You have that ability. So apps you need. So whether you're a small business, you need to do cash management. You can now download all the major Canadian banking applications, do cash management from your handheld. Something as simple as editing a business card. So at this trade show today, you're probably going to gather lots of business cards. Why not just have an ability that you can scan that business card and it automatically flows into your contacts without all the typing that you have to do or typing that you have to do. Wikitude, excellent application. I'm seeing a lot of people starting to develop custom applications for themselves. So I want to be able to have a mapping application for my employees. Easy to do. So things that were very complex in technology 5, 8 years ago are now out of the box and fall off the turnip truck easy. Very manageable. So talking about evolving. So I said that the internet ruined everything because we have to be experts. We have to be better at doing our jobs. You can have something that was beloved. The BlackBerry 10 years ago was beloved. And maybe we didn't keep up with the times. You have to continuously evolve your offering. So the Mini on the left is the original Mini, which was beloved. The Mini on the right is what it evolved into. The technology advancements are phenomenal. Yet the overall look and the iconic feel of the device, or the car, is still the same. That's what we're doing with the BlackBerry. So a few things that we've done. When we do studies to see what people want in smartphones today, your camera, the ability to do text messaging, there's all kinds of things that come back. One of the things that constantly comes back, I don't want it to break. So a forged stainless steel bezel, why is that important? Because I got a BlackBerry. I don't want it to break. So going out to your constituency, finding out what they want and trying to deliver that, very important. And at BlackBerry, we think that we've done that. So a few little things. The new BlackBerry Q10, one thing that we find is that when you're in a meeting, you quite often slide your BlackBerry across the table. So that little stainless steel bar across the back is just a micro fraction higher than the rest of the back of the device, so you won't scratch your device up when you slide it across the table. Thousands of little engineering design and element changes in the device. Changing the screen so it works better outside. Making the keyboard the best that we can possibly make it. All those things that we're working on. And again, making it easier for you to interact with the plethora of information that you get on a daily basis. So I had 20 minutes. Hopefully I've covered my 20 minutes. I'm going to be open to questions now. And hopefully we have some good questions, because without questions, we don't have entertainment. Yes?
So can you tell us, it's nice now that we know about BlackBerry, but can you tell us how to use our BlackBerry in order to increase our ability to relate to our customers specifically?
Sure. So within BlackBerry, we have the centralized hub where all information flows. What I'd recommend to you is that in that hub that you are going to be constantly looking at through the day, you try to engage with your customers through a Facebook feed, through a Twitter feed, through a LinkedIn feed. So business-to-business interaction, I have the ability to connect with you on LinkedIn and see what you post. So I can be having lunch and see that you have just posted on LinkedIn that you have taken training for Salesforce.com or anything, and I can respond to you instantaneously saying, way to go. It makes that personalized contact between you and I as a constituents a little more palatable.
Okay, so it does what an iPhone does now. But what I'm wondering is, are there specific apps that, like database management, like that sort of thing, to manage your customer? Like, so those social media feeds are great.
Yes.
However, this is about customer relationship management, right? So I'm just wondering if there are any specific BlackBerry applications that are specific to customer relations other than social media.
Yes, so there are thousands of customer management applications. The most popular are cloud-based, like Salesforce.com, where you can enter contacts, tasks, and to-do. What we've done with BlackBerry is integrate that with the hub. So when you post something on Salesforce.com, you would actually get a reminder in the hub or in Blackberry Remember. So again, trying to thread all of your information through your daily tasks and activities. Yes?
We have a SQL server on the server with all our data. Is there a way of accessing that data remotely through the Blackberry device?
So the question was, we have a SQL server filled with data, and we'd like to be able to access it through the Blackberry. Absolutely. So there are,
And security.
and securely. So that's one thing that BlackBerry's never left, is our security mind frame. So we make sure that your data is encrypted, whether in motion or at rest. But yes, you can access any kind of customer portal on the back end. That's probably, again, something that is a bigger conversation that we should have here, but I'm happy to talk to you about how to do that
And
offline.
then just follow up to that, overseas, we go overseas for a charity, if you're in India or some of those countries, there was that big discussion about a year or two ago about, the Indian government preventing BlackBerry data from being used because of some security things.
Sure.
Is that resolved?
So the question was, in India or other countries, there was a lot of newspaper articles last year about BlackBerry being blocked, or the country wanted to read that. BlackBerry's stance is that we will follow the law of the land. In North America, the RCMP or whatever government agency has to get a court order to look into any of your private documents. The same would be true to other countries. With the camera off, that was probably a little bit more about jobs than it was about security. So we are not going to allow governments to run rampant and read everything that you send. It just will not happen. But under court order, we would. But by putting a call center or some employment in that country, all of a sudden those government demands evaporate. Any other questions?
So it's not an issue now?
No, absolutely not an issue.
Just a good question. I came in late, but I'm familiar with the presentation that BlackBerry made. With respect to policy development within the BlackBerries, right now, when I'm talking to our partners, that there's a lot of restriction for an organization to actually develop their own policies. Everything is boxed in right now. If that's going to change, and when that's going to change, I'm hearing that there's a big release or a patch release coming in to allow organizations to develop their policies that fit their legislation and standards. Is that happening, or is it just still out there? I haven't seen anything released publicly.
Okay, so the question would be that is BlackBerry going to release more policies to allow an organization to manage their constituency the way that they would want to? And absolutely. So again, that's probably more of a technical conversation than the broader audience might want. But whether you want to have complete command and control over your BlackBerry constituency, we give you that ability. Whether you'd like to have a middle ground where I'm going to manage the information that you take from my organization and put on your handheld, but if you want to follow Kim Kardashian, go ahead, we don't really care. Or whether you want to have the Wild West of security, we can fit all of those models.
And Outlook be used on the phone?
Yes, so
I don't have a BlackBerry.
absolutely. So the inbox can be completely integrated. When you delete, it's gone. That's a hallmark of BlackBerry.
Use
It's not Microsoft Outlook, but it is an email client that is eerily familiar.
But can you use Outlook? Can you pass the whole Outlook program?
Yes.
You can.
Yep.
So you need
Tasks.
that too.
You need the BlackBerry server, and then all of your tasks, notes, everything will synchronize with the handheld.
Sorry, I was late to maybe cover this, and if you did, then I'll slide it. But the dual sign-up, how it said that you have multiple, I don't know what the word is for it, users?
Personalities?
Yes, personalities on your BlackBerry, so that you can distinguish personal from business.
Yes.
So is that an easy thing to do, or how does that function? Is it two BDMs then? Like, how does that work?
So today with BlackBerry, we have business and personal divided on the handheld. So when your organization deploys the BlackBerry server, that automatically happens in the handheld. We as users never need to know anything. It just happens and it's there. And when I'm on the business side of the device, everything is encrypted and controlled. And when I'm on the personal side of the device, it is mine. And simplistically, if that employment relationship should evaporate, all of the business information can evaporate, but all of the personal information stays. So the device is truly divided into a work and life balance. There are applications that reside on the personal side and not on the business side. BlackBerry Messenger would be one of them. That would be considered a personal application, not a business application. But anything that is touched on the corporate information on the business side is encrypted, commanded, and controlled by the BlackBerry server. In the back?
So the contacts, is it two separate pools of contacts?
Yes, so they're mixed together. So when I open up my
How do you determine that when you're using Outlook? Like, how does it synchronize?
Excellent question. So when I look in my contacts folder on my device, I only see one group of contacts. So they're all together. If I'm password protected, I would only see contacts that were deemed as personal. Personal contacts would come to me from Gmail or Hotmail or the iCloud, wherever I've kept them personally. Anything I pull off the corporate server is considered business. So even if I enter my spouse's email address on my contact list here on my laptop at work, that would be deleted as part of work address. If it's on my personal Gmail account, it's personal and would stay.
Do you use two sources of Outlook then?
You would.
Personal and the business?
You could do that. Most people would use cloud-based email for their personal directory. Yes?
I noticed in the hub that you have kind of everything going in there, all your emails and everything. Is there a way of separating those? I have some users that just don't want to have all their phone calls, all their texts, everything coming into the hub. They'd rather have their emails separate off to the side so that they would just have to check their emails, all their voicemails, all that stuff, all mixed in together. Is there a way of having that separated if the apps there on the new machine?
To separate them, I'll have to do a bit of research on that. My expertise doesn't go that far.
I couldn't find a mail icon,
No.
so I was
So
wondering.
in the bottom right-hand corner of the hub, you can slice and dice that information. So you can select it that it would only show email
Okay.
and continuously only show email or phone calls or Twitter or whatever you want, making it singular. And the hub is the universal inbox for all messages.
Oh,
In the back?
The segregation there, you talked about partitions and now, a link to all this, you have to have the EPC system, right?
Yes.
And next week, initially release coming in, is there any sort of direction in terms of opening that up to other third-party vendors, or is this, like, we always have to be BlackBerry's to control all these features, but everything that we're talking about right now, you can't really do unless you integrate more with that.
So that is a great question, and yes, so as a company, BlackBerry made that decision a couple of years ago, and even today, through the Bez server, I can manage Android and iOS devices. And there'll be a lot of announcements coming next week on that, but today, through the Bez server, I have the ability to command and control an iPhone or an Android device.
To switch our phones over to BlackBerry, you would have to have BlackBerry server software on the Exchange server, MySQL, and all that to coordinate, correct?
So the question is, do I need BlackBerry server software to switch my phones over? Not necessarily. That's probably one that we should take offline. So you can do it without any of our software. You can do it with our software. There's a lot of choice.
Doing it with the software.
With the software, it gives you command and control. Question?
Yeah, I am a Samsung user right now. What's the value proposition for me to switch to BlackBerry? What would you tell me?
To switch to BlackBerry? Well, we're a Canadian company, so there's lots of employment in the region. That's good. Our value proposition is kind of evolving over the next couple of years. So the base operating system in the BlackBerry 10 was from an Ottawa company called QNX. No one had ever heard of QNX, but you actually have. Ever heard of OnStar? QNX. Ever heard of BMW iDrive? QNX. Honda, about 65% of the cars in the world use QNX. So evolving as cars evolve, you're now going to throw your BlackBerry in the cup holder, and the navigation screen will become the BlackBerry screen. You'll be able to talk to your car and say, find me parking, send an email for a restaurant notification. All that information will flow back and forth. From an individual handheld standpoint, browser's fantastic. Applications are coming every day. We have been pioneers in the messaging and security aspect of the devices. What we're doing with near-field communication or making the electronic wallet is very, very exciting. But a personal PDA device would be personally for you to decide. I don't want to sway you one way or the other, but I think we have a very strong value proposition.
Quick question on the migration path. When we migrate our current BlackBerry servers to the BlackBerry 10, I mean, we would have to duplicate our licenses, right? One for one, so at least we can do the migration. What's BlackBerry's position if we cannot migrate, i.e. in 2014, where we still need to have a mandate to maintain the older infrastructure as we migrate? Because we may have devices that we cannot migrate into a BB10 for similar concerns, like if the BBM is going to remain in the personal space, we track some of those activities for disclosure purposes. And if we have restriction of having to control that for evidence-based disclosure, we may want to maintain the old infrastructure. So what is the position of BlackBerry that if I can't migrate one for one, I need to maintain the double licenses for, I don't know, for the next 2 years? Am I going to be forced to say you can't have duplicate licenses? And I hope that's a fair question.
So at BlackBerry, we're not forceful. So the question was, how do I migrate from my old BlackBerries to my new, and can I maintain the old? So we have a program in place that the migration from the old server to the new is free from a licensing standpoint. We will continue to support the old server until the end of 2014. At blackberryready.com are all kinds of details on that, and I'm happy to talk to you offline about the specific requirements you may have for your organization, and I'm sure that we can meet those.
What about people that are doing rough mechanical work or field work, and it's like you threw yours on the table? How what kind of glass is it? How much do you have models that withstand torture?
So, ruggedness of the BlackBerry model. So I don't recommend that you guys throw your phones. Mine don't cost me as much as perhaps yours would. But they're quite rugged. They use Gorilla Glass. Most of devices today do. I would talk to your carrier provider. The people at TELUS have access to OtterBoxes, to all kinds of things to make the device almost indestructible.
Just looking for a little more information on the other products that you have. So, like, we're in operation. We all use Blackberries, but we also use iPads.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just looking at the future integration of other devices into because when you're dealing with something like iPad, your app's very specific versus something like Android. So I guess I'm just looking for a little more perspective, your perspective on the integration of other existing hardware with, there are multiple devices that we use for our operations.
Absolutely, and that's something that we see. So multiple devices, what is BlackBerry doing about iPad? From the BlackBerry server, as an administrator, I can now look at you as a user and apply company policy and security across the board, whether it be iPad or BlackBerry or Android. So on your iPad, you would actually see a secure container that is encrypted. The information flowing back and forth is encrypted, and the applications can be pushed from the server to be encrypted. So now on my iPad, I have my work environment that would have all the tools that I need for work that are secure and encrypted and managed by work. And when I'm finished on Friday evening, I can hop over, and Angry Birds and all of the applications that I want are still there and not tracked by the company, because that's my personal time. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much for your time. We do have a booth down in the trade show area, so if there's any questions that we had that weren't answered, very happy to answer them down there. We're here all day. We appreciate your time. Thank you.